All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wake Up. That's Damon. I'm Larry. Welcome to Wake Up, brought to you by Sam's Chowder House. Thursday night is must win. Must win.
Wednesday, October 9th. Larry, when you get to the fork in the road, take it. Isn't that the famous Yogi Berra bit of advice here? And there is a fork in the road for this 49ers season coming up on Thursday night. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that this is one of the bigger regular season games that Kyle Shanahan has ever coached since he's been coaching the San Francisco 49ers. It's not hyperbole. It's not us trying to sell you something that really isn't there. This is a very important game. With it, you're back in the mix in first place in your division. Without it, you're 0-3 in the division, 0-4 in the conference, and the playoffs couldn't be looking much further away for a team that starts like that.
You got to have it, man. You got to have it. You can't lose 4 out of 5. And that's what will happen if they lose here. If they lose this one, is the season over? No, but you've lost 4 out of 5, and you got the Chiefs rolling in and the Cowboys following that, and the Niners' schedule between now and the end of the season is the 5th toughest schedule in the entire league. So, this was the soft spot on their schedule, and they stumbled through it. And Thursday night is a gotta-have-it game, and it doesn't matter if it's a close game, if it's a high-scoring game, if it's a low-scoring game. It really doesn't matter. They just gotta have the W.
Got to get that W. And we'll talk about how and why. We'll talk about weaknesses that the Seahawks have got to be rubbing their wings together, looking at salivating over. And we'll get into all of that. But Larry, I think we need to start this show with the shock of Robert Saleh and the firing that rippled through the entire NFL, way outside of New York. And obviously, this is something that hit the radar of every single 49er fan about this time yesterday morning. We can use this to evaluate the Jets for being the, NFL equivalent of clown shoes that they truly are. The one thing that operated well on the Jets has been their defense, which Robert Saleh's got his fingerprints all over. Remember that really awkward video between him and Aaron Rodgers and pushing away in the shoving sideline, and they tried to say, nah, there's nothing there. Well, there was definitely something there.
Maybe the moral of the story, Damon, is when your quarterback who makes a lot more money than you hugs you, hug back.
That, or if he doesn't want a hug, don't try to give the man a hug. I don't know. It was just really, really awkward. It looked weird. The actual level of disdain for Robert Saleh that was all over Aaron Rodgers' face in the moment. People tried to sell us, don't use your eyes. You're looking at the wrong thing. Aaron Rodgers is telling you there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Well, after a bad loss in London, Robert Saleh gets the bullet. Now, we know, Larry, that he's a very good defensive coach. And we know that his ties to the 49ers had a lot of people going, woo. And then, of course, we saw Mike Silver, drop an awful lot of reality just by saying, he had basically heard from Robert Saleh. Saleh's going to take the year off, and he's going to throw his hat in the ring for the next coaching cycle. Okay, I get that. And like all coaches who spend a little time with their family, that lasts for about 2-3 weeks. And then they start getting that itch again. And I'm not saying that the 49ers need to hire him. I'm not saying that the 49ers need to replace Nick Sorensen or Brandon Staley, but I am absolutely on the phone with Robert Saleh. If I'm Kyle Shanahan and I got a good relationship with the guy and I'm saying, let's fly into San Francisco, you, your wife for the week. Let's just go over some stuff together, do a little shopping. We'll put you up at the Drake. We'll take care of you guys. We're going to just come on out. Let's talk a little football. Robert, you interested? I would make that call, see if he is.
I wouldn't. I mean, personally, he's got a ton of kids. I think he's got like 6 or 7 kids or whatever, maybe more. And the way the schedule works. I mean, as soon as he got that job, he's been all in on that job. He's probably only had he's had a very strained, thing with his family as far as time goes. I guarantee you that's just every NFL coach. So, I mean, if you were him and you were working 120-hour weeks and abusing your family and all for naught and you get fired, I think the last thing I want to do is go give more of my life to my work especially when I've got millions of dollars coming my way if I just sit on my carcass. So I think I'm going on a beach, sitting on a beach somewhere for the rest of this year. Now, next year is the debate, because some people would take next year off too because he's got money coming. Other people would say, no, he needs to send a message that he wants to coach by pursuing jobs and dealing with the offset language. So that's the way these NFL contracts work. You don't get double, you get offset. So if he's making 5, somebody wants to pay him 7. The other team's actually paying him 2, and the Jets are paying him 5. So that's how that works. But he had another year left on his deal, so he's this year and all of next year. The Jets' defense was first in points per drive, third in success rate, and first in EPA per play since Saleh arrived. So he'd done a nice job on the defensive side. It was the fact that Rodgers is no longer Rodgers. Hackett's a shell of himself. This season, Saleh's defense has allowed the fewest yards per play in the entire league, while the Jets on the offensive side in that same category are 27th. So this was a guy who probably didn't deserve to get fired. Maybe Joe Douglas deserved to get fired. Maybe Woody Johnson deserved to fire himself, and he can be the ambassador to the UK once again, because nobody made them trade and nobody made them acquire Aaron Rodgers and pay him all the money when he's 40 and put him on that terrible turf. It was problematic from the start. It didn't wind up working out. Saleh takes the hit, but you know, and I know he's a good coach. I just think, Damon, for the Niners, one, Shanahan just told us yesterday that Sorensen's doing a great job, a hell of a job.
He's not.
What do you think of Nick Sorensen? Nick, are you kidding me? He's doing a whale of a job. Okay, so that was yesterday. But I also kind of think, if you said to me, and I don't know how you feel about this, but we can get into this discussion, is the Niner defensive issues, are they related to Sorensen directly, or is it more personnel? And I would say it's more personnel, but that's just me. I'll listen to arguments that say it's Sorensen.
So certainly there's demerits throughout the personnel, De'Vondre Campbell being the biggest screaming one of them all, right? We know what some of the problems are. We know that there's a problem at safety, but dotted in every single loss this year has been a communication issue, and that goes directly to coaching in my book. It's not a personnel issue to figure out who's covering that guy. I've got this guy. Now, the personnel issue comes up with, I'm not talented enough to cover that guy. I'm too
just blew by me.
Right. That is, to me, there have been so many communication gaps that I would be looking to fix that, because you can fix communication. I cannot make De'Vondre Campbell faster by Thursday night. I can maybe get him on the same page with his safety by Thursday night. I can have the right meeting to make sure that my safeties and my corners are communicating who's got what on what play. Brian Baldinger posted a couple videos this week, Larry, that were damning of Mooney Ward and the communication level that he was having with, I think, Jair Brown, Talanoa Hufanga at times. It was not good. Not good. I mean, guys pointing at each other. That was my guy. No, that was your guy. That was our guy. That
was supposed to be the argument for Sorensen, was the continuity. Oh, you don't got to change the scheme, and you don't got to change anything, and everybody knows everybody, and it's big hunky-dory, and continuity, and we'll hit the ground running, and we can't waste any time, and it's week 1, and we got an older team, and, playoffs. I mean, these are the arguments for Sorensen. I would not say that that's wrong in any way. I do think the communication has been an issue, but maybe we could agree that it's both, because their secondary looks slow and they don't look like they've got a safety that can cover the deep part of the field. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mustafa's it. Campbell, somebody needs to give that guy a ride to the airport. I mean, he needs to go. They need to go in a different direction there. He is just so fish out of water. That Kyler Murray touchdown, I directly asked Sorensen yesterday at the presser, what happened?
I saw this video, Larry. Good job.
Yeah, no, I don't have to show it again. I was just going to say, I asked this question, and he didn't mention Campbell's name at all. And yet, when you roll the video and you see the play, Campbell was standing right there off the left shoulder of the blocker, and all he's got to do is come off the block, and he's, makes contact and tackles Murray. He doesn't come off the block at all, and Murray just runs right by him. So Campbell, I don't know who saw the vision of Campbell, but it's not working.
It is not working. It's definitely not working. Got a question from Brandon Simmons saying, do you guys think that Saleh lost his cool and had to be escorted out of the building? Well,
He did have to be escorted out of the building. That much
heard,
we know.
Yeah, I've heard different stories about how it all went down. You know, he was working out, and Woody Johnson, without even talking to anyone on the Jets, went and made this decision himself, just walked in there, is one story that I've heard. I've also seen another story saying, no team, not even the Jets, operates like that. Woody talked to somebody. He didn't do this independently and then tell everyone that he had just did it. The whole escorted out of the building thing, Ralph Barbieri was escorted out of the building when he was let go by KNBR, and Ralph posed no threat to anyone. It is, sad to say, standard operating procedure that you get a walkout on your last day if you're fired midday work week. That happens. That happens. It's unfortunate. You'd like to think that there's enough, just maturity in the room to avoid something like that, not treat him like he's been caught stealing pencils out of the filing cabinet or anything. But I don't think that we can look at his escort out as something that Saleh did to earn that. I'm sure he was pissed. I'm sure
Adam Gase was not escorted out of the building, according to the reports, when they dumped Gase. So Who knows? Maybe, Saleh's a volatile guy. Maybe he yelled and screamed for a minute and said, "What the hell? What the hell?" I mean, he could have said what I just said. Hey guys, my defense is first in the league in points per drive. We're third in the league in success rate. We're first in the league in EPA per play. By the way, our defense is leading the league in fewest yards per play, and yet our offense is 27th, and I'm the, but he's the head coach. He's the head coach, and it's easier to fire the head coach. Somebody fired me from a multi-million dollar job, multi-million dollars a year job, and I was getting paid for the next year and a half in this climate, and I knew that I had professional credibility and I would be hired again at some point for another, high-paying position somewhere. I just enjoy the time, man. I just 100%. Go enjoy the time and go to Weston, the Weston at Apuna Beach and on the Big Island, and just sit there and kick your feet.
Larry, it is easy for us to say, and you and I have both been let go from jobs, and I'm sure would have taken the $1 million to walk away, and we'll see in about a year, everybody, had that been available to us. But I also know us enough to know that we'd want to get right back at it in so many other ways. You're going to get that itch because you're a broadcaster in your heart, and so am I. These coaches are coaches in their heart. That I'm going to go away and spend a year away from football sounds really good till about day 20. And then by day 21, you're getting that itch. And you start picking up your phone, and all these guys have massive professional egos, and Saleh's professional ego was backed up with statistical success on his side of the ball. And another thing that's got to make him a little furious about this whole situation too is how embarrassing it is, because guess what? If the New York Jets win this week and a game or two breaks the AFC East way for the Jets, they could be in first place as well. So Robert Saleh's got to have a certain degree of what, why, when, where, how about this, the same way that, I don't know, you had the number one rated show in your time slot and you get let go and you're like, how did that happen? Like, I know we all get fired, but now, like with this, I was surprised. So he's got to be a little stunned by the whole thing. His entire year had been planned to be the head coach of the New York Jets. He hasn't carved out any vacation time. That comes later. I hope he's happy, no matter what. I've always liked Saleh. He seems like a good guy, and I hope that there's nothing attached to the rumor that his Lebanese flag that he wore as a point of pride, because that's his heritage. I hope that had absolutely nothing to do with this decision, because if it did, there should be a lawyer involved.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I will say, as far as Saleh goes, in his early days with the Niners, people wanted to run him out here. So it was amazing how much smarter Robert Saleh got when the Niners drafted Nick Bosa with the second pick overall. And then all of a sudden, the Niners defense turned around and Saleh wasn't a problem. People forget he's a problem, Robert Saleh, this and that. But I just really think that the Niners, is Robert Saleh going to make the Niners have a free safety that can cover? Is Robert Saleh, if he showed up today, going to make De'Vondre Campbell a good linebacker? Is Robert Saleh going to somehow, make these guys communicate in a system that is not new? I mean, it's not a new system. If they're having communication issues, that's probably not a good thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Robert Saleh is a good coach. I just think that the 49ers issues on defense are more related to who they draft and who they bring in than who they have coordinating. Because right now, I mean, when Robert Saleh was here, they went to the Super Bowl, and they had a front of D Ford and Nick Bosa, who was playing better at that point, seems like. Plus, you had Armstead and you had Buckner. Now you have Malik Collins, you have Jordan Elliott, who the Browns didn't want. You have Leonard Floyd, who's older, who plays a good game, plays a couple bad games, and you got Bosa, who had 2 pressures this weekend. So I just don't think they're as good up front. I don't think they're as nearly as good without Greenlaw on that second level. And I think they're relatively slow on the back end. And they've gotten beat over the head, over the top and verticals. They never have defended that. Teams have just not gone at them there. So that's there. That's still a problem. Their lack of speed is a problem. And you've seen it now many, many ways. You've seen it over the top, and you've seen it Kyler just running to the edge. They got to figure out a way to get Campbell off the field, because people say, well, why are you blaming Campbell? Because it's Campbell.
Because he's the slowest person on the field.
Because I've got eyes, and I can watch the film, and I can roll it back, and I can see who's making the plays and who's not making the plays. And
you can watch other teams' offenses target him play after play after play. They're looking for him the same way that kids at recess look for the fat kid to tag. He's easy to take advantage of.
I mean, I'm not saying he's the fat kid, but he's been targeted 24 times. He's given up 21 receptions and 24 targets. That's almost zero resistance.
Right. It's unsustainable.
You can't have that. I mean, you just can't have it. He's also missed 5 tackles in the last 2 games, but he's given up an 87.5 failure rate on receptions. He's just got, you can see it on the film, poor lateral agility. I wrote it in my notes. Can't slide over, can't come off a block to even put a finger on Kyler Murray on that 50-yard touchdown run. I mean, there is no solution other than get him off the field and get a better, faster linebacker on the field.
And here's the thing, the Kyler Murray 50-yard touchdown run, I think I heard Tom Brady say that Kyler Murray was running 22.3 miles per hour, the fastest clocked quarterback scramble in the last 8 seasons of NFL football. So he would have run past a lot of dudes, not just De'Vondre Campbell. I'm not even holding.
No, but De'Vondre had the angle.
Him. It's every other play, like you're saying. Kyler is going to jitterbug past all pros. He's that good when it takes off, and he's that fast, and he's that athletic. It's the other things, like you're saying. You cannot be targeted 30 times, give up 28, and say, I've done a good job here. I'm just filling in the blank numbers for what your real numbers were. It's just, it's unsustainable, completely unsustainable.
I mean, the other thing here, I mean, just once again, I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to be Campbell, but the film kind of shows it is Campbell. Here it is. I'm going to show you the play. Here it is. I asked Sorensen about it. This is what he had to say about it. But here is the play. And you're going to see it first from the sideline wide, then you're going to see the end zone. And you're going to see Campbell over here get wired to his block. Mm-hmm. He's engaged off his right shoulder. He can easily come off the block. He's got full vision of Murray.
Watch the Murray
and he just doesn't
run on the film. What was the breakdown on that play?
Yeah, it was. They got us a bit on that one. You were in single high there, and They just got us on the edge. We didn't bump out, and then we got caught up from the post, and it was a couple different things.
There's a couple
kind
different
of covering
things.
his guy a little bit. I mean, it's a couple different things. I mean, Damon, I'll fast forward this to the end zone copy, and you can see the angle right here. This is Campbell right here, I think, right? Or is this Campbell? And we'll slow-mo it, and then you'll see Murray. When Murray gets to right there, Campbell is engaged with the blocker, has direct eyesight on Murray, And all he's got to do is come off the block, and he's got 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. He's wired to the guy, wired to the guy, wired to the guy. Is he going to get there? No. Untouched. That's De'Vondre Campbell, ladies and gentlemen, right there.
The minute Kyler Murray is at his hip, he's pointing towards the end zone because he knows he's gonzo. Absolutely gonzo.
House call time. So, I mean, Campbell, I think he might have been good in the 21 season for Green Bay, if you look at some of those numbers. But he wasn't good before, and he's not good since. And there's a reason that you think the Green Bay Packers have an aversion to really good linebackers who they drafted and developed in their system? No, they don't. They have an aversion to guys who can't play, and that's why he's out of there. And Gutekunst knew it, and unfortunately the Niners didn't.
My neighbor across the street, who might even be watching right now. Hi, Tim. Tim's great. Tim's great to our kids. He's great to our family. Tim's a great guy. The only thing wrong with Tim is he is a massive Packer fan, like the kind of asshole who hangs up the team pennant in the front window so everyone can see it whenever the Packers are playing. When the Niners signed De'Vondre Campbell, he sent me like a laughing emoji level text. He's like, you can have him. He's like, please take him. I'll drive him to the airport. I'll fly to Green Bay and make sure that he gets to SFO on time just for you. Ha, 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 hardy, hardy, har. And he was right. So not good. By the way, I'm a huge fan of the movie Cool Hand Luke, as all men should be. Sentinel football here. It seems what we have here is a failure to communicate. What?
Cool Hand Luke, Charlton Heston?
No, sir. This is Paul Newman at his
Paul Newman.
Yeah. It's the seminal Paul Newman performance, I think, in any movie.
I loved him in The Color of Money. He was very good in The Color of Money.
Good in that too. Fast Eddie.
And they had one of my favorite songs from Eric Clapton. It's in the Way That You Use It. You ever heard that song?
Larry, I heard it this morning on Sirius XM radios. I'm driving the kids. It's unbelievable. I haven't heard the song in years. I hear it this morning, and you say something not even 30 minutes later. Maybe this is going to be the Niners week. Maybe it's all in the stars. I don't know.
It's all in the stars. We're locked in.
As long as we're rolling, telling people how to feel better about themselves, would you show them the video? Would you take them down to Half Moon Bay and let everyone know what's waiting for them at Sam's Chowder House? I'm talking about blue skies, a gorgeous day, an incredible meal, attentive staff, beautiful presentation. The room is great. The views are great. The lobster roll, undefeated. The lobster roll has missed no tackles this year. The paella is covering every inch of that bowl. The cioppino, shedding all blocks, Larry, making all tackles, that cioppino. Come on down to Sam's Chowder House. You'll be very, very happy that you did. And tell them that Wake Up with Damon and Larry sent you.
There you go. Sam's Chowder House, a proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. We appreciate them. A couple of starred chats before we go to our next topic. Kyle McKiernan says, Larry, I know Chase does his Das Boot beer chugs, but let's be real. Go put a pint glass in your freezer now and have a cold pint ready on the air live when you roll to 50,000 subs. Cold one live, book it. Okay. Gosh, I love that the audience is invested in the 50,000 subs as Kev and I are. We are closing in on 50,000 subs. Let me tell you exactly where we're at. We are at, to the minutes, 49,144. Picked up 100 yesterday. Wow, that's amazing. 49,144. So if you've yet to hit like and subscribe, please hit like and subscribe. There you go. Look at that. Damon's going to take a shot.
Salute you. 50,000 is a real big number. I'm proud of you, man. You certainly deserve it. All the hours that you're putting into this. Thanks to everyone for supporting the both of us. Really, really appreciate it. I'm on my way to 25. My goal was to be at 25 before Halloween, Larry. I think I'm going to get there. Could use a little push from your
2 weeks. 3 weeks. They're technically 3 weeks away. Today is the 9th. 3 weeks from now, we'll be saying, just take one.
Halloween. Yeah,
just take one.
Just take one. Just take one.
Just take one, kids, and be careful on those stairs on the way down. Everyone's worst nightmare says fire Kyle, hire Larry's dog Penny as the new head coach. I can't rock with the fire Kyle. Brandon Simmons.
Does Penny come from the offensive or defensive side of the ball, Larry?
Penny definitely is an offensive dog, not a
Okay.
defensive dog. She doesn't have the defensive mentality.
Not a read and react dog.
Damon, our dog's a bully. She's on the other side of the fence, and she barks like she will rip you limb from limb if she could just get on the other side of the fence.
Isn't she a golden retriever?
Right, but if we left the door open and she or if we're on the walk and she sees your whatever coming towards her, she goes into the down position, like, come hang out with me and sniff my nose. She's a very friendly dog.
The doggy played now. That's what I said. I've met Penny, and at no point in time was I physically intimidated.
No, if she has teeth, we don't know. We've never seen them. Blood Moon says, curious to know why Mooney Ward stopped himself short of saying to Silver that they know what is wrong with the team and just said he'd rather not say further. I don't know. Silver did have some guys, quoted saying, yeah, it's kind of a weird vibe in here. Yeah, I'll tell you what's a weird vibe is you got a bunch of high-paid guys who have a huge reputation and may not have the same game anymore, and they're walking around the room like they are somebody. The old coach used to say to me, Damon, he's like, there comes a time when all you got is that name on the back of the jersey, and you ain't that player no more. And you know what? That truer words have never been spoken. There's guys walking around that room that they got the name on the back of the jersey and they're supposed to be somebody, but when the game starts, they're no longer somebody.
I hope that Charvarius Ward isn't falling into that category. I'm going to give Nick Bosa enough benefit of the doubt to tell you even great players have bad games, and hopefully his worst game of the year was just played and he'll be better than that. Fred Warner exceeds his reputation, I think, just about every single time I watch him play. So who right now do you think is leaning more on their nameplate's reputation than production? Who do you think?
I'll give you a couple.
Yeah.
Mooney, 31 coverage snaps, targeted 4 times last week, gave up 3 catches for 67 yards. That's a 116 passer rating when targeted. 37.6 PFF coverage grade. He's not playing like a number 1 corner. I don't think he ever really was, but I'm sure he thinks he's a number 1 corner, and he's not.
He sure was last year, man. He was really good last year.
I don't think he's ever been a true number 1, in my opinion, but he's still been good, but he's not been as good this year. We mentioned Campbell already. Campbell's just flat out stealing money. He's been absolutely awful. Who else? I'll give you another one. Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is looked like he was gonna have a great camp. Showed up in great shape. He's been very quiet so far this season. He doesn't beat man coverage, and he no longer is a threat as a runner. He's run 15 times for 36 yards. That's not good.
Right, that's
Niner receivers.
Correndo numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Ike Corendo's like, hey, man, give me my football card back. The Niner receivers, Damon. Now, to me, this is the most damning stat. All this talk about Kyle's got to do this and Purdy's got to do that. And, this is the idiot take that I can't stand, that I've heard a few times this week. Purdy has just got to stop playing hero ball. God, I mean, tell me you're a fucking idiot without telling me directly you're a fucking idiot. Say that. Here's the stat. 49er receivers are averaging. This is an NFL.com stat, not a next gen or a PFF. We made up the stat while we were at lunch today. This is a NFL.com actual stat. 49er receivers are averaging 2.8 yards of separation per target. Doesn't sound like a lot. Why? Because it's not a lot.
It's not.
It's the worst in the NFL. Worst. So when you're sitting there going, Brock's holding the ball, he's playing hero ball. Go watch the Baldy breakdown yesterday on Purdy, where he's like, what's Brock supposed to do? What's Brock supposed to do? Who's open? He's ready to throw. They're in the red zone. The pressure's bearing down on him. Who's ready to catch it? You look up, everybody's wired to their corner or safety or linebacker. Nobody was open. Manuel Acho did the same video. He's like, the Niners are slow. Look at this. Nobody's open. Nobody's open. So Debo's at the top of the list. He's got a huge name. You say Debo, and it's like, Debo? Oh, my God, Debo. Debo could have his own clothing line. Kay Adams has got him on there regularly nationally. He's got 15 carries this year for 36 yards. So he's a total 0 as a running back, and he can't get away from man-to-man coverage. And guess what's happening now to the Niners? Because guys like Debo can't beat man. You're getting a lot more man coverage.
Yeah.
So why is Brock Purdy running? Because that's what you do when you're the quarterback and you drop back to pass and you're getting man coverage and your receivers are all covered, but the defense turns their back on you. You have to run. And Brock knows how to play the position, so he is running. So this stop playing hero ball. What do you want him to do? Nobody's open. Nobody's separating. You can only throw, Damon, a small percentage of 50-50 balls in a game before, guess what? 50% of them become picks. And if 50% of your 10 passes in the second half become picks, you had 5 picks, and people are talking about how you're not the guy. He's not him. So
I think
they're not getting separation. The O-line, and I feel bad too, Damon. The O-line's getting unfairly blamed because
Agreed.
You know why? Because it's easy to blame Jake Brendel. It's easy to blame Colton McKivitz. It's harder to say Debo's done. It's harder to say Kittle's slow than it is to say McKivitz, Brendel, those guys suck. That's the easy take. It's harder when you're sitting there you just got your number 1 jersey out of the wrapper. It's hard to say, oh, yeah, the guy I just bought the jersey of is slow as hell and is a shadow of what he was.
Right. Number 19 was a lot better than number 1. Okay.
Right.
No,
right.
Number 19 was a lot better than number 1. And it's reflected in the numbers. To me, the most damning stat of the year, since that's where we are in this conversation, is the yak yardage. How do you go from number 1 to dead last in something? I mean, that to me is a tremendous fall off. And there's no small sample size of, hey, we've only played 1 or 2 games here. It'll all, the market adjustments coming. You're 5 games into the year now. And not only do you not separate, but then you don't run past once you catch the ball. So it's basically every single Niner, if they do catch the ball, they get tackled at the catch, just right there. To go dead last,
because the defender's right there.
When you are built to be team yak yards is pretty damning. That to me is the biggest concern that this offense is having right now, not Colton McKivitz.
They don't have a complementary group of wide receivers. They have a redundant group of wide receivers.
Right.
It's kind of like the Dolphins.
Just a lot of
Dolphins have a redundant group of wide receivers too, except they're all burners.
Right.
Tyreek Hill's a 4-3 guy that, not the greatest route runner. Oh, but guess what? Jalen Waddle's the 4-3 guy, but he's not the greatest route runner. They got A-Chain and he runs in the 4-3s, but he's kind of a little inconsistent. I mean, they got tons of speed. What they need is, they need their Ayuk or they need a Juwan Jennings. The Niners are all these Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings ran 4.7. He's faster than that. Well, okay, but he ran 4.7. Debo looks slow. Ayuk is their speedster. He's not a burner by any stretch. He's not a Xavier Worthy. He's not a sub 4.4 guy or even a mid 4.4 guy. He's a middling runner, but on this team, he's their go pattern guy. Cowing's fast, but can't get on the field. Marshall's fast, but can't get off the practice squad. Pearsall's got some decent wiggle, and I think he could be really helpful in the red zone, but he can't get out there yet either. He's not ready. So, I mean, they're leaning on their big name guys, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. I mean, and they're not doing it. They're not doing it. And the lack of run after the catch to go from first in the league to 30th in the league shows that, you know what, your receivers are too slow. You got to take Ronnie Bell. I mean, I hate to say this because it's blaming Ronnie Bell for all that ails us. And I'm not. Please, Ronnie, if you're watching this, I'm not hanging I'm not hanging everything that ails the Niners on you, bro. I'm not. He's a solid guy. He's a solid receiver. He's totally redundant on this team. He's He runs a good route in theory. He's got decent ball skills in theory. He's not a burner. He's relatively slow. They need to replace one of their relatively slow guys with somebody who can freaking run. And somebody who can scare the defense, somebody who can create space. Offensive football is about creating space. There's no space on the field. That's why they're not getting any run after the catch.
Now,
so they got to make it's a personnel thing. They got to find some more dynamic speed.
Bad news. The one guy who's going to show up and maybe change things, Ricky Pearsall, is a redundant guy. Another one of those, not a burner, good route runner, good hands, possession guy, but not a burner, not a route guy, not someone who just escapes man-to-man coverage. That's his reputation.
You know what he is, Damon? No, you're right. You're right. But you know what he is? He does have what Debo and Ayuk don't really have, which is the ability to separate like at will underneath. Like he's not going to run by you 5 steps and be like, oh, Christ, Ricky Pearsall just blew right by me. But he's so great with the footwork and the stops and the starts and the body control that I think he can create space in the red zone. So I do think he'll be a red zone threat, but you're right. He's not going to give them speed.
And then there's Jake Cowing, who at least was a full participant in practice. So maybe he gets inserted as a little bit of a game changer. But again, it's also a rookie wide receiver. And we know that just based on that alone, Kyle hates him with every bone in his body because Kyle hates all of his rookie wide receivers. And there's a lot of evidence to back that up.
I don't think it's hate, by the way. I don't think it's hate.
You know what I mean.
No, I know. But it's just that rookie wide receivers struggle to get open unless they have just God-given explosiveness, because a lot of it's about nuance and route running, and they're not very good at it.
Let's keep going with some stars before I ask you a big monster question, Larry.
We got this one. It's not a super, but Brandon Sims says, good morning, Kev. Hope all is well, man. A little shout out to Kev.
Blood Moon says, Kevin, is something happening to Kev I don't know about?
No, he's doing great. He's doing great. He's gonna go to Cal Poly this weekend to see his girlfriend. So nice. After he said, Dad, I'm gonna, because the Niners play Thursday night, so I got the weekend free. So I'm like, dude, go anywhere you want, whenever you want. Blood Moon says, curious to know what. Okay, then we got that one. We got this one. Ricky Williams, what's the deal with Devontae Adams? Carr is so hurt, so probably no Saints, and the whole dumpster fire we call the Jets are more unlikely the team to go to now. So who do you guys got on the Adams sweepstakes? I'm going to say the Ravens. Ravens have been looking for a receiver for a while. I think the Raiders probably would take like Rashad Bateman and a pick or two, something like that. I could see the Ravens. The Ravens seem like they've got the need and the desire. I would say Kansas City, but I can't see Mark Davis making that trade.
Yeah, he can't do it. He can't do it. And the truth is, you trade him to the Ravens for just draft picks. Those feel like they're hardly going to be premium draft picks. So you're going to want multiple picks. And that might be enough to have the Ravens say, well, we're not giving you multiple picks for a 32-year-old who comes with a price tag that is as big of a price tag we see at the position. So that's look, Adams is a lot sexier in theory than he is on paper when you start looking at the in totality of his contract and in his birth certificate and everything. So I don't know if he's just as movable as a lot of people think he might be. I wouldn't.
I think he's movable. I mean, he's movable because he's got great ball skills, but he's not a fit for the Niners. I mean, I don't know if Ricky is asking that. Everything is on my brain is kind of Niner centric, but I mean, a lot of people saying last week, "Oh, what do you think of Devontae to the Niners?" I think that's another redundant part. I mean, if I was going to get a veteran receiver, I'd want Tyreek Hill. I'd want somebody who actually, would give them some element that they don't right now have. And I don't like the idea of trading Ayuk and anything. Ayuk's 26 and Devontae's 32, and no, I don't see that. I do think the Raiders will move off of Devontae before the trade deadline. I would guess Baltimore. We will see where it goes. We didn't mention this before, but yesterday, Damon, Devin White was cut loose by the Eagles. He was a Pro Bowler winning the Super Bowl with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers just a couple years ago, it seems. He's only 26. He's kind of regressed, obviously. He couldn't get on the field in Philly. He lost out in a competition for the linebacker spot to the Georgia kid. So I don't know. I mean, I'll say this. I like Devin White. I think there was a time he's more of a pass rusher. He's more kind of like a delayed blitzer. He's kind of a linebacker version of Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams was a safety, but he played like a pass rusher. This guy's a linebacker who kind of plays like a pass rusher. But I'd still rather have Devin White than De'Vondre Campbell. So I would say go sign him. I like Devin White. See if he's anything left. He's only 26. It's not like he's 32. He shouldn't have lost at all. This guy was awesome at LSU. This was like as good a defensive player there was in the league a couple years ago. So did he lose it all that fast? Maybe. But I would take a look. That's one guy because it doesn't cost you anything. You get him for nothing. We got this one here.
Another
Ricky Williams.
Ricky.
He says, what the fuck will it take for this team to go on full rebuild mode to where the team will go on a fire sale? We should keep Purdy and Warner as far as I see. Well, there is no such thing as a fire sale in football for the most part. But I would say if they lose, this is not overstating it. If they lose this next game and then wind up losing to Kansas City, as a lot of people think they will, since Kansas City's yet to be beaten, the Niners couldn't beat them when they were playing better than this. The Niners will have lost at that point 5 of 6, and they ought to listen to anybody who's offering any draft picks for any of their players, because they've got major cap problems. They're about to pay Purdy a lot of money, and they need draft picks, and they need to kind of churn their roster and turn it over a little bit if indeed they lose the next 2 games.
I think, if you're talking about could they pull the escape hatch in the regular season, Larry, yeah, a loss here and then a loss to Kansas City, followed by a home loss to Dallas would mean like, oh, yeah, now it is time to just have a bake sale right outside of Levi Stadium and see who wants what. But the truth is to honestly answer that question, the 49ers can win the Super Bowl. They're going to look much different next year. This is going to be an offseason of massive change, win, lose, or draw, just based on that Purdy dollar amount alone. So the massive change that people demand, want to see injected into this team is coming whether they win or lose. This is going to be a very different looking football team next year than it is this year. And given the way this year's gone, that might not even necessarily be a bad thing if this year continues to go like this. And that brings me to my super chat for you, Larry.
Yes.
Here is my super chat. Well, I'm offering you nothing. I'm paying you no dollars for this super chat. But here's my question for you. I don't want you to look at your notes. I don't want you to use your head. I want you to use your heart to answer this question. Do you still see the 49ers as a Super Bowl contender right now?
It's hard to see, but yes, only because I think the conference, I think they can get into the Super Bowl. I don't know if they can win the Super Bowl, but I think they can get there. I don't see that team in the conference, Damon. That I said. I know the Rams beat them, the Cardinals beat them. It's not like they're unbeatable, but I don't see that super team this year in the conference.
I think you see them like I see them now. At this particular time, I have removed them from Super Bowl consideration. I still think they're a playoff team, but they just don't feel like they have consequence about them right now. Now, maybe things change. Like I keep on telling everyone, and I really do mean this, there's a lot of football left. A lot of football left. So the team you are in the middle of October and the team you are in the middle of December can be 2 different things. But there is enough damage to be done to them by taking their eye off the ball in what has been the easy portion of their schedule that it might be a hole too deep for them to climb out of. This game tomorrow night in Seattle, Larry, I don't think it's not an exaggeration. It's one of the bigger games Kyle Shanahan has looked at in the regular season. If the 49ers don't come out and throw their very best punch at Seattle, the trouble's real. And I'm telling you right now, if I'm Mike McDonald and taking over for Pete Carroll, there's no mystery as what the 49ers are about to see up in Seattle, right? There's zero mystery. There's zero defensive surprises that should be stumping Sorensen and Staley. Because here's what you're going to get. You're going to get Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet all fucking night long. They were going to run the ball 30 times. They're going to throw it to those guys. They are good catching the ball out of the backfield, the both of them. They are coming all night long. I am going up top to DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba 4 times a half. I am going downtown for DK Metcalf once a quarter. We're throwing at least 40-yard in the air passes to Metcalf once a quarter just to see if it's there, because it has been all year for anyone who's wanted to lift the lid on this defense. And I'm just telling you right now, every single time I look up, Tyler Lockett is kicking the 49ers' ass on third down. Like, that guy always has good games against the 49ers. It feels like that. Noah Fant, he's a problem. So I am spreading it around, and I am running the ball at the 49ers until they prove that they can stop it. And I'm doing it all night long. I'm running, way up top, running, way up top. I'm just putting them in a pressure cooker all game long if I'm the Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle's desperate. They're banged up, but they've lost 2 in a row. They won 3 in a row, and then they lost 2 in a row. And the teams they beat were not great, but McDonald's defense has bothered the Niners. The Niners catch a break here in that 4 of Seattle's best defensive players are pretty banged up in this one. Like, I was talking to Dave Softy Mahler yesterday, and he's like, I'd bet the Niners in this one. Byron Murphy's hurt. He's not going to play. Boye Mafe is hurt. I don't know if he's going to play, but he's not 100%, and he looks amazing coming off the edge. So that's 2 of their front 4 guys. They moved off of Bobby Wagner this year for Terrell Dodson and Jerome Baker. They're making a lot of tackles, but a lot of them are down the field. And then Reek Woolen, their number 1 corner, is dinged up as well. And I don't know with his status. Derek Hall, their leading sack guy, is dinged up as well. So, you got 4 or 5 guys on their defense. Their defense is pretty good. If you gave them a healthy Byron Murphy, Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, Reek Woolen, and they drafted well. This Tyrese Knight linebacker they got from UTEP flies around. He's fast. Julian Love's a star at free safety. That you want to know what the Niners need? They need Julian Love. At free safety, the Niners don't have a Julian Love. So, they've got some talent, but it's going to be a challenge for the Niner defense. You're right. Can they stay with DK Metcalf? Can they? Mooney has traveled historically with DK, from side to side. Do they do that again? And then you're right. Lockett is an incredible route runner. And then Jackson Smith-Njigba is a great receiver out of the slot. They use him out as the slot receiver, so that's going to be a huge challenge. Their offensive line, though, is not good. And the Niners' defensive line should be able to win against this offensive line and put heat on Geno. Now, they have the 3rd best passing game in the league, so it's not like they can't throw the ball. They can throw the ball. And if they run with success against the Niners with Walker, who's less than 100%, that's not going to be a good sign. But this is a gotta-have-it game for the Niners. They gotta have it. Doesn't matter what it looks like. They just gotta have it. Doesn't matter if it's if it's a masterpiece, if it's a blowout, just gotta have it. One more super here. Mike Baker said, "Isn't age one reason we signed BA to get younger?" Well, you weren't. He was on the team, so you're just re-signing him. So I don't know. You're not getting younger.
He's in his prime.
Yeah,
it's
26.
Brandon Ayuk's prime. The 3 best years of his career should be the next 3 years of his career.
In theory, we'll see.
Right?
Yeah. Let's just talk about this for just a second. We're talking about the Niners and why they're disappointing. Okay, so Brock Purdy. First of all, the offense is. You look at the offensive numbers. The offensive numbers are decent. It's really the special teams that's disaster, and the defense it's bad. But let's just go right through it. Purdy is completing, Damon, 66%, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's been sacked 12 times. Okay, so those numbers are not great. They're not as good as they were a year ago, for sure. Then you look at the other numbers, the other players on the offense. Jordan Mason's having a great year. He's averaging 5.1 a carry. He's got 536 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 107 yards per game. He does have 2 fumbles, which is bad, but he's having a good year. He's the only running back really doing anything of significance. Now let's move to the receivers. Leading receivers, Juwan Jennings, 31 targets, 22 catches for 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ayuk has 314 receiving yards and no touchdowns in 5 games. Mr. $30 million a year, no touchdowns. Deebo Samuel has 27 targets. He's caught 17 of them. So, he's got he's got 17 catches for 233 yards, no touchdowns. Kyle Juszczyk has, as a runner, no carries. As a receiver, he's been targeted 10 times. He's caught 7 balls for 77 yards, no touchdowns.
He had a touchdown taken away from him by an illegal man downfield.
So Kittle's got 3 touchdowns, but Debo, Ayuk, and Juszczyk combined have 1 touchdown, and it's a Debo rushing touchdown. That's it. That's not enough. I mean, that's not enough. Now, has the offensive line been great? No, but to me, the lack of separation with the receivers is equally to blame, and more people like to blame the offensive line. And then defensively, I love Nick Bosa. He's got 3 sacks in 5 games. A half sack more than Malik Collins, a half sack less than Kevin Givens. So it's not
producing. I mean, that's it. It's all across the team. The team is dripping with not enough from guys you expect more from. It's the defining feature of this team right now, and they are either going to shake out of it, and it is going to get right with the guys that they have all starting to play better and more cohesively, or you got old. And you're the team that was in the playoffs last year that ain't in it this year. It happens every year. A team that still has high expectations finds themselves in a much different type of fight the following season. And the 49ers,
what happens when you keep running it back. Run it back. We were the best team. We just lost. We'll run it back. We're the best, but we'll just run it back. You know what? You got to constantly turn that thing over, and you got to constantly get better. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Did the Niners get better in the offseason? No, they got worse.
Well, we thought so, though. I mean, we fell for it hook, line, and sinker in some ways. We thought this was going to be the best secondary of Kyle's entire tenure. That's how we were billing it coming out of training camp. And
there's good talent.
One of the worst secondaries of Kyle's.
There's good talent. There's good talent there, but I mean, they're young, and all the pieces don't seem to fit together. If would this Legion of Boom have been the Legion of Boom if they had 2 Cam Chancellors and no Earl Thomas? No, you need to have somebody who can cover the field. And in a coverage sport, the way the NFL is pass happy these days, that guy's probably even more important than the box safety. And sure enough, the Niners have multiple safeties they can play in the box and nobody who seems like they can confidently play coverage down the field.
Apollo Crews, I just saw this. Purdy is the white Jalen Hurts. Let me tell you right now, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Jalen Hurts wishes he were the white Brock Purdy because one of those guys can really throw the ball. The other guy's Jalen Hurts. So stop that.
I got into this argument with somebody a couple of years ago when I just said that Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts were the same guy. And I had like 50 different comparisons. I'm like, they're the exact same height. They're the exact same weight. They have the exact same hand size. They're both like devout religious. They're both like very calm personalities. It was like 50 comparisons, and people were like, dude, he's nowhere close to Hurts. Well, this was Hurts in his 3rd year at the apex of his career, and this was Purdy in his 1st year. And it was like, yeah, it was spot on. It was a spot on comparison, but people couldn't handle it. And lots of people push back on this. How could you possibly compare him to a star like Hurts? Now, what are we looking at? Here we are a couple years later. Who's the better quarterback? I think if you asked 100 NFL people, probably 95 of them would tell you Brock Purdy's the better quarterback.
Oh, easily. One
more super.
Yeah.
Batman says, is it me or is there a ton of NFL injuries so far? There's always a lot of injuries.
Yeah. Injury sport.
It does seem like a lot this year.
It's an injury sport, that's for sure. Like and subscribe. Both of these channels, they're growing. It's happening. This show is becoming a big morning show throughout the entire Bay Area, throughout the entire interwebs. Thank you for watching Wake Up, brought to you by Sam's Chatterhouse. Larry and I are going to be back at it on Friday, which is going to be a day after. And then Monday, even though it's a holiday, Larry, are we rolling on Monday?
What is the holiday?
Columbus Day.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry, Christopher. I'm not taking that day off. I'm
Yeah, it's
working.
Chiefs week. It's Chiefs week. I think you should work it too.
No days off. You know who's going to join us Friday for the wake up is the great Paul McCaffrey is going to be in the house.
I'm so
Paulie
excited.
Mack normally is on with me, Damon, on Wednesday nights because of the condensed week this week with the Thursday being a game day and all that. Everything get jumbled around. So I said, hey, Paulie, what do you think of jumping on in the morning, the day after the game with Damon and I on Wake Up on Friday? And he's like, I'm down. So it won't just be you and I on Friday. It will be, or I said Wednesday, but I meant Friday. It will be the day after the game. It will be Paulie Mack joining us on Wake Up.
I love it. When Paulie got let go, he and Tony Ryan came on over. I showed him the setup. We did a video together, and I haven't talked to him, but on the phone once since. So it'll be great to catch up with Paulie, one of the real good guys who used to be in the business, right? I mean, I love Paulie, so that'll be fun to catch up. I know people will like that and seeing him. Jacob Cowing is ready to play football again. And I think Kyle owes it to his team to design a play or two for him, like feed him, force it to him, get him involved. Don't just let him be out in a pattern, and we'll see how this play develops. I want to see a little force feeding of Jacob Cowing to finally figure out what you got in this young man. Limited in practice yesterday, Larry. Jair Brown with an ankle, kind of important. Chris Conley, oblique, doesn't even matter if he gets on the team plane. He's useless.
No, he's not useless. He's got talent. He's a good, really valuable special teamer and an underrated receiver. I think
he won't run 5 snaps from scrimmage all day. You can give him to somebody else. He
can though if you need him. And Cowing's issue is he ran one route. He got banged on the shoulder and he came out. I'm starting to worry about his durability and his ability to play in the NFL. This is the Danny Gray experience. Every single hit lands him out of the game or on the injured list. So Cowing might not be physical enough to play in the NFL. We'll see.
Mooney Ward's got a knee. He's essential. George Kittle's got ribs. He's essential. Fred Warner with his ankle is the most essential name that you're going to find on this week's injury report. So hopefully they're all able to go. Saw that Jordan Elliott with his knee, Demetrius Flanagan fouls, which was probably going to be the fastest way to get De'Vondre Campbell off the field. He didn't participate. Talanoa Hufanga's got a wrist, and we might not see him for at least another month now. And obviously Jake Moody is out of the picture. And now in the picture is Matthew Wright as your fill-in understudy kicker. And I'll tell you, when you hear about a guy who's a backup kicker just off the street, you probably couldn't do much better than a guy in his career who's 40 for 47 and 35 at 37 on extra points.
Yeah.
So
I talked to him yesterday. He's a veteran, and he's been here before. He was here for 5 days last year. And he's been around the block. Steelers and a bunch of different teams. Yeah, lots of teams. I mean, and then those are the teams he's been on the active roster. Then he's got like 5 or 6 teams he's been on the practice squad. So he's been around. He lives in Tampa. He got the call from his agent, say, hey, come try out. He tried out against 4 other kickers.
Right now, no one should be in Tampa.
But I mean, he had, he showed up and he's like, hey, man, it was a little kicking competition. It was me and 3 other guys, and he won the competition. He got the job, and he'll be the kicker. He'll be the kicker tomorrow night, and hopefully he can make a kick or 2.
If called upon to make that kick, please make that kick.
The only thing riding is the Niners' entire season.
Right.
Welcome aboard.
Telling you, Larry? What's your gut telling you? Thursday
night,
the
Niners.
Happy post-game, angry post-game.
No, I like the 49ers here. I did an interview yesterday with Dave Softy Mahler, and Softy is very, very, very normally rah-rah Seahawks. Right. We're going to win.
Seattle's going to kick your ass.
We're going to kick your ass. We're going to take you. He's like, I would take the Niners. He goes, we're just really, really banged up. I think if you look at Seattle's schedule, they've played, this is their 3rd game in like 12 days or some ridiculous thing. He said to me, he's like, I will be shocked if they bring any energy at all in this game. He thinks their energy is going to be low ebb. He's like, yeah, I'm not confident in their energy.
For a
of course,
Thursday night, for a Thursday nighter in front of their home crowd, when's the last time you saw Seattle not answer that bell? I mean, he watches the team every game more than we do, but Seattle
they just lost at home to the Giants.
Yeah, but
with no Malik Neighbors and no Devin Singletary,
not good, not good. But again, it's a Thursday night game. That crowd is going to be whipped into a frenzy. It's going to be loud as hell in there. I'd be really surprised if Seattle's biggest problem in this game is the energy it attacks the night with. I mean, that'd be stunning.
He said, watch for the Seahawks to be very low energy on Thursday night. He also said that DK Metcalf has had a real fumbling problem this year. He's fumbled like 2 or 3 times, so look for Warner to pop one out against DK. And Dave also said that the Giants just went at the left corner, Trey Brown, just went at him over and over and over again. He said it was really awkward and embarrassing. So expect the Niners to target Trey Brown. The star of their defense is Julian Love, their free safety. He's a tremendous player, former Notre Dame star who they signed as a free agent. He's been incredible. So they have some good players for sure. And you know that they're going to come out like they looked flat against the Giants. They're not going to be flat.
No,
I don't think they'll be
division
flat.
Game, man. This is a division game.
Yeah.
Seattle, I could see,
and they've lost 2 in a row.
I could see how the Giants officially fit the first real definition of this is a trap game, right?
Yeah,
that is a team that you do take your eye off of, knowing what's coming up. So I'm not going to score that one too heavily against the Seahawks. They will be ready for the Niners. The same way the Rams. Remember that was supposed to be an easy game? They were ready for the 49ers. You know, this is Mike McDonald's first shot at Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan needs to take advantage of that. Kyle needs to be the better coach in a game for the first time in a handful of weeks here. So
Mike McDonald had, it's like McDonald had the right game plan.
Oh.
He had the right game plan against the Niners on Christmas, right? But people made such a big deal about the plan because Kyle Van Noy's like, you know what? We've got the solution to beat the Niners. I don't think they had the plan to beat the Niners. I think they had the personnel to beat the Niners. Kyle Hamilton's a great safety, and Geno Stone is a high percentage interceptor. And Queen and Roquan are really good, active, fast inside linebackers. And they just dropped all these guys into the middle of the field and kept their eye on the quarterback and got a couple tip passes, and Purdy, avalanched on them, and they had a good day at the office. But I think it has more to do with the fact that Kyle Hamilton's special, and that Stone's special, and that Queen's special, and that Roquan's special, than Mike McDonald has the solution to beat the Niners. I think it was more of the players that they had than the plan. Well, we'll find out. Because you got to think that Seattle, John Schneider, whoever decided to hire McDonald in Seattle, saw that game on Christmas and were like, you know what? This guy just absolutely made Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy look really, really bad. Let's get that guy. I bet you anything McDonald got that Seattle job largely because of the Ravens' performance on Christmas night.
Larry, it's the letter you look forward to every single year. We have Samuel Rosario saying that Larry Bear just sent his email and his annual message to fans.
We're going to sign free agents. We're going to make trades. We're going to sign free agents, and we're going to make trades.
In what sentence of Larry Bear's apologizing for another season email, in what sentence does Buster Posey's name appear in? Is it the first sentence? Because I'll tell you, Dieter, I think I either saw a conversation with you, Dieter Kurtenbaugh brought this up. I am excited kind of about Buster Posey. It does also sort of smack of a little bit of desperation. And when I hear that Buster Posey's first idea is Brian Sabian, yeah, I mean, that definitely tickles the memories that I have, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do at this point in time. Good luck
all
with
these
that.
organizations have layers of guys. You got the president of baseball ops, and then you've got these high-ranking assistants, and then you've got it's like the Yankees, Brian Cashman's the GM, but he's got Jim Hendry there, the former Cubs GM, and he's got Sabes there, the former Giants GM, and he's they've got a lot of ex guys in their front office. And if you look around, like Philadelphia, who's the GM there? Well, there's Dombrowski's there, but then there's actually a younger GM. So there's just layers of these things. If you brought back Sabian, as part of as a consultant, I think it would be smart. Now to just hand him the keys to the kingdom and say, we're going back to your drafts and this and that.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it needs to be, a younger guys. But I mean, I think there could be a role in this thing for Brian. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And God knows he's a Hall of Fame executive.
In the room, sure. Driving the car, I don't know. I don't know who's going to drive the car.
I'd rather have Sabian do it than some 22-year-old guy who just went to Yale who's like, has an equation.
I'll give you that. What do you got? I got an abacus. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm a hell of a GM unless there's a fucking power outage, and then I'm screwed.
Do you watch any Dodgers Padres last night? Hell of a game.
Yeah. I watched it.
And by the way,
Teoscar Hernandez is the guy the Giants ought to sign. I mean, he hit the grand slam, but I mean, Teoscar, all this talk about Shohei, that was the thing with the Giants. It was so goddamn annoying last year. We're going after Shohei. Okay, so you're on some level, you're acknowledging that, yeah, you need a draw, but you also need a major bat in the middle of the lineup. Oh, we didn't get Shohei. Well, screw it then. We're not going to get anybody. It's like,
right.
Wait, what? You were going for a $700 million awesome player, and now you didn't get that player, and now it's like we don't want Teoscar Hernandez. It's like, and then I started ripping it, going, what the hell, and I've got people like coming out of the woodwork going, look, man, they're going to spend money on Shohei because Shohei will, provide and, will drive fans and pay for himself. They're not just going to. It's like, do you want to win baseball games, or is this about offsetting revenue losses? What are we talking about here? Your lineup sucks. You need an offensive player. Yeah, you lost out on Shohei, but you also lost out. The bigger issue is not that you lost out on Shohei. You probably had no chance at Shohei. The bigger issue is while you were asleep at the switch, jerking yourself off to the idea of Shohei, the Dodgers got Teoscar Hernandez for a song. Right. For a 1-year deal. You should have gone for Teoscar Hernandez and given him a 3-year deal. That's the guy you got screwed on. But no, they're like so fascinated with this. We got to get Shohei. Well, you know what? You got nothing. And now you're on the street, Farhan.
Instead of a Shohei, you got a Jung Hoo. So there you go.
Paid him $19 million a year to hit 260 and not hit 10 home runs.
Right. Yeah, anybody in the Giants farm system can basically do that and has done that. So good times. You really want to make sure people are clicking the channel off and going away. I guess we could tell you that shark season starts tomorrow. Go Sharks. But that would be too cruel. A couple of other NFL headlines that are absolutely worth noting. We just saw him have a pretty damn good game against the 49ers, and Jabril Peppers of the New England Patriots has since been a naughty boy. He got put on the commissioner's exempt list. He is being charged with a strangulation, drug possession, domestic violence situation. It is not good development around Patriots starting safety Jabril Peppers, and he is their, one of 3 good players on the entire team. And on a week where they're turning to Drake May to finally enter the picture frame, it looks like Jabril Peppers is going to be out of it for the foreseeable future, at least until that problem is cleared up. And by the way,
let me get this straight. Jabril Peppers is smart enough and has enough presence of mind to wear a guardian cap to protect his brain, but then is also stupid enough to assault a woman and commit a crime that will cancel his entire career. How's that guardian cap going to do for you on the suspended list? He's got the guardian cap to protect his brain, but what protects him from himself?
Isn't
it ironic?
It's tantamount to my favorite vegetarian in the world,
Who smokes?
My favorite vegetarian is the smoking vegetarian. These are my favorite people in the world. No one makes me laugh harder than the I won't eat meat, give me another Marlboro guy. That's the best.
Yeah. Or here's this one. I saw this one driving through the city the other day. The guy who's riding a bike to work while smoking a cigarette and watching his phone. He's smoking a cigarette in his left hand. He's got his phone in his right hand. He's driving his bike with his elbows. You're riding a bike to work, but you're smoking and looking at your phone. Welcome to 2024.
Seriously.
I'll say this. I was watching the other day. When I said the other day, I'm talking about a month ago. I give him the other day about a month. I can say the other day for about
the other day. The other day is a 30-day window in your definition of the other day. Okay,
right. So, and the reason I was watching a 9/11 retrospective. So obviously today is October 9th. So
you're in your window.
I'm in my window. I got 2 more days. The other day I was watching this. Anyway, it was like 102 minutes that changed America, right? And the History Channel put it out, and it was just a compilation of all these all these people who filmed things on 9/11 and all these people walking through Manhattan. And it was really good. It was really gripping. And they showed all these people standing there in Times Square looking up at the buildings for the images, the TV that's on in Times Square on the building. And it's like, it just hit me that, what? Our world has changed so dramatically just since then that, it's like now everybody at everything is holding up a phone. You go to a presser, everybody's holding up a phone. You go to a sporting event, everybody's holding up a phone. Nobody at all is just living in the moment. Everybody's like has to record for some kind of future usage or whatever social post. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's changed our world to the point, Damon, where we were way cooler before we had these phones. I mean, the phone's really cool, and it's cool all the things it can do, but it's made us way less cool. Way less cool. I mean, come on, man. I mean, seriously, 9/11, the building was, do you know how many people, if that happened today, would be just, I'm recording this on my phone.
Right.
You know how many people don't break up fights and instead record them on their phone? I mean, come on. Break it up.
There is no first aid. The first move of first aid is now hit video, hit record, hit upload. It's really weird. It's a problem. It's a societally wide problem. And I'm telling you, my generation, Larry, you and I are right about the same age. We got the last great American life, man. We went to college without having to chase social media clout. And that's why we were happy. That's why we were like out talking to chicks and hitting on, and having fun. And like there was just a different world, man. There was a different world. People were wired differently. Not everyone was so easily offended by everything at every moment. A lot has changed for sure. And just the last 20 years, I mean, a massive cultural, societal shift.
Are we right now old school YouTubers?
Yes.
Are we old school YouTubers in
We're
that?
too old to be on it.
No, I was going to say, are we right now doing something? Are we like old school YouTubers in the fact that, remember when people used to have like YouTube streams and they talked to each other? Now I film myself talking, and then you film yourself talking. It's like, come on. It's amazing. Not to mention, it's like, you can't go to a freaking Chipotle and get like a chicken burrito without taking a picture of it and sending it to 19 friends. Look at my burrito.
Everyone, Damon's talking to chicks. Ha ha ha. Let me tell you, boy, I had more game than Parker Brothers back in the day. I got a hot enough wife to prove that, by the way. So thank you very, very much.
Damon's had them in every different zip code. That's awesome. We got this one. Pipe laying mofo, which is
speaking of talking to chicks, jeez.
Pipe laying mofo who had a little something to say. It's amazing you move the conversation to dating, and Pipe laying mofo jumps in. You guys are the best Niner podcast. We love you guys. Oh, wait, I can't forget F.U. Grant, a.k.a. Oh, come on. Don't bang on Grant. Okay. Couple last ones. There's some serious questions that have to be asked that we haven't really asked. And that is, we found out yesterday, Damon, there's going to be no Hufanga for a month. So the question is, can Malik Mustafa play free safety opposite Jair Brown? And is this going to be, here's my question to you. Is this going to be a step down, a lateral step, or a step up? And I actually think it's a step up. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to apply the old the Japanese have the same word for opportunity as problem. It is a problem that Hufanga is going to be out of the room, but this is an opportunity that a young man needs to prove himself. And I think that Malik Mustafa is the kind of guy that I'm willing to live through a few games of growing pains over because he's that interesting of a prospect. And if he can figure it out, if he can turn into this team's free safety, holy shit, the 49ers just solved a massive problem of their own in-house, and that's exactly what they need to do. So I'm looking at this. I'm trying to sunny side up this Hufanga injury. And the truth is Hufanga was out there missing tackles, and he's just not himself. His injury prevented him from returning to himself, and the other little nicks and dings that he's caught along the way have even set him back further. So I would rather a healthy Mustafa making 100-mile-an-hour mistakes than I'd have Talanoa Hufanga's experience at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, I really, really think that Mustafa is a better athlete than Hufanga. Now, Hufanga's a genius, right? He's very smart. He watches tons of film. He's like having a coach on the field. But as far as just actually playing the game, I think Mustafa's stronger. I think he's a bigger hitter in the run game. I think he's got better foot speed. I think he's a better cover guy. I just think he's better. He's better. I love Hufanga. Hufanga's the kind of guy you'd want to marry your daughter. He's as high a character guy as you're going to find. I truly, if they could clone Hufanga, they would. But Mustafa, I think, is better. I think he's going to be better. So we'll see about that.
And I'm not ready to give up on Talanoa Hufanga in any way. Let that guy come back from his injury and build that guy back again because he's a good player. He is. He was a Pro Bowl
player. He's a good player. I just don't know if he's a if he's a free safety. And he's got, the same way I'm talking about how receivers have to complement the other receivers. These safeties have to complement each other. You don't have two Cam Chancellors, and you don't have two Earl Thomases. Earl could play the coverage, and Cam could lower the boom. And you got to have guys who can do both. And to me, they got some boomers. They don't have any cover guys. What's that?
Cam Chancellor changed Vernon Davis's career in one hit.
Yes. Oh, what a hit that was! But Joseph Ernberg. Did you see this one?
Joseph you do that now, Larry, you go to jail.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Now, oh my God. Yeah, seriously. Cam Chancellor was arrested Sunday night in Seattle for the hit that he had in the third quarter on Vernon Davis. Could you imagine? Joseph Ernberg. I would want someone like Larry to marry my daughter. No, you wouldn't, because Larry's married with 4 kids. No, but I know.
That means you can get the job done. You haven't run out on anybody yet.
That's right. I want someone like Larry. You mean somebody who's married and has 4 children? No, somebody who's talks sports for a living. All right. So that's one of them. That's one of the major things. It's can Mustafa do the job? That's one of my major questions. The other question is, can the Niners get pressure without blitzing? They've blitzed. I didn't see the Arizona blitz rate, but their blitz rate had gone steadily up. 9%, 12%, 20%, 33%. I don't know what it was this week. If anybody does, I've been looking for that stat. I haven't been able to find the Niner blitz rate against Arizona this week. But is Sorensen's blitz rate climb, is that sustainable? This is a team that at the beginning of the year, Damon said, we want to get it done with our front 4. And now without Hargrave, it's like that's no longer even a possibility. And they're just going blitz crazy. Is it sustainable?
I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't look like they're getting any with 4. Like, what if they actually just tried to rush 3? I saw a team. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers were getting home with 3. I don't think the 49ers got 3 guys. I don't think Collins, Bosa, and Floyd could create a 3-man pressure. We don't see a lot of 4-man pressures. And the blitz that they did dial up against Kyler Murray ended up into the lollipop that came down in Marvin Harrison's hands on 4th and 5 with 2:40 whatever remaining in the game. So the one time that they did pull it out, it didn't work. They look, Nick Bosa, you have to start playing better. No nuance, no interpretation, 4 sacks, monster game. Teams are scared of you. Who on this 49ers defense scares other teams right now?
Other teams or our team? Because De'Vondre Campbell is very scary.
He's very scary if you're rooting for the Niners.
He's
it's
a very
terrifying.
scary guy.
Fred Warner is a problem for anyone playing the 49ers. Beyond that, I don't even know if Nick Bosa commands the same sort of pre-game worry that other defensive coordinators used to pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, the Niner defensive swagger has evaporated with no Greenlaw, no Aziz. There's no question about it. I think Floyd from time to time can be a force, but you're absolutely right. Two things I want to finish with here.
I've seen Leonard Floyd twice this year. Okay.
Yeah.
Week 1, last week. That's it.
Right. He might have been in Hawaii on those other weeks. Number one issue for the Niners, I think. Now, the fact that their receivers are not getting separation is a real problem. But I think the number one issue, and maybe it's more of a result than an issue, but then I think it's turnovers, Damon. The 49ers are not great on defense. They can't turn it over the way they've turned it over with the defense that they have. It's like
Jordan Mason's got to stop putting the ball on the ground.
And just whoever's turning it over, whether it be Brock, whether it be receivers, whether it be Mason, 8 turnovers in 5 games. That has a lot to do with their struggles.
Yep.
8 turnovers in 5 games. They have to eradicate the turnovers. That's number one. And the reason I do like the Niners to win this game tomorrow night is I think I look at the statistical profile of Seattle, and I spent last night looking at the condensed Seahawk Giant game from last week. I don't think, now we'll see what Seattle, last week, Seattle could not run the ball or stop the run. This week, I think they're going to recommit to the run, but that's it. They're 22nd in the NFL in run offense, and they're 20th in run defense. They gave up, Tyrone Tracy averaged over 7 yards a carry, almost 8 yards a carry. So that run the hell out of the ball at them, and I don't think they can stop it, and then shut down their run and make them one-sided. I think the Niners can win this game just on that right there. They can't turn it over, but if the Niners don't turn it over and they just run the ball and stop Seattle's run, I think this is the get-right game for the 49ers. I think they go up there and they get the win.
I hope
they need
you're
it.
right.
They need it badly.
If they look slow again defensively, if they're getting no separation. By the way, maybe this lack of separation is a testament to how much Christian McCaffrey, how much attention gets paid to him. And that's why these Niners receivers aren't coming open anymore, because they're just not worried about things happening underneath like they used to with McCaffrey. But that's another subject. The special teams miscue can be nothing other than new field goal kicker missed a field goal. Anything other than that means your special teams fucked up again. And that can't happen. I mean, it can't happen. It's happened in every game. In every single game, there's been a special teams mistake so far this year. I would suggest they drop that shit off at the tarmac before they even leave for the stadium. Because I don't know, a turnover and a special teams miscue gets you beat Thursday night in Seattle.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Couple more supers. John Kalua, the poor separation stat is real, but I disagree on them being slow. Rams, Cup, and Nakua were the slowest wide receivers of their classes and run wide open. Yeah, but once again, you're making my point for me, Johnny. Who are the other complementary receivers on that team with Cup and with Puka Nakua? Tutu Atwell, who's a 4-2 burner, and Demarcus Robinson, who's a vertical threat 4-4 guy. So, yeah, you can have Tutu and Robinson as these guys who run burning times but don't catch the ball great, because you got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. They complement one another. That's my whole point. Ronnie Bell can't be on this team because Ronnie Bell's redundant. They need a complementary part. They'd be way better off with Danny Gray than Ronnie Bell. They need a complementary receiver who can run, not a redundant receiver who can't. Mike Baker drops this one. He says, whatever happened to what happened to the 45-minute show idea? Not that I mind because I'm still watching. Love the shows. Let's go Niners. Well, when we get into some of the juiciness, we go a little longer, but you're right. We'll cut it a little shorter.
We get rolling, baby. We get rolling.
It's like, it's like a running back going against the Niner defense. We get rolling. We're like James Conner in the second half. You thought you had us down to 1.5 a carry. That was the first half. Welcome to the second half where Damon and I go for 5.9 a carry.
By the way, Shush says, look, Damon, I don't want to hear that we can't do X on offense because CMC is out. We have too many weapons and an offensive genius. Well, your offensive genius isn't dialing up very much in the red zone, and your too many weapons, as we discussed thoroughly, have all turned into slow men in one offseason. So the amount of weapons that you thought you had and the amount of weapons that you actually have, and all of the sharpness has come off of the Deebo Samuel knife. I mean, he's just a dull non-presence at this point. So how many weapons do you really have? You had one good game out of Ayuk. You got George Kittle, who's good for a touchdown. And that's the list. Jordan Mason has been great, but he's continuing to fumble as much as he is to buoy this run offense. He's done a good job, but it's not great anymore. All these weapons, your third wide receiver's gotten the most amount of run in Juwan Jennings, the guy who might be the best at it, gets the least bites at the apple. And
let's talk about these weapons.
There's no way to pretend that Christian McCaffrey wasn't the skeleton key that opened up fucking everything. He's
a great player. He's a great player.
Deadly.
He's a great player. But it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
If these other players were ascending players, you wouldn't see McCaffrey missed as much. But in reality, Deebo's a descending player, and he's not been very good. He talk about a guy. It's like, as I said off the start of the show, the old coach who said, Larry, everybody gets old, and at the end of the day, all you got is that name on the back of your jersey, and suddenly after a while, that's all you got is that name. Well, that's where the Niners are. It says Deebo, it says Samuel, and you see number one, he runs out there, he's carrying the boom box. Everybody's thinking, whoa, here comes Deebo.
He doesn't even carry the boom box. He doesn't even carry it. He just stands next to it.
He's walking next to it. But it's like Trevor Hoffman came out for all those years with the Padres to hell's bells, and he threw 89 miles an hour. And all these guys were ahead of thinking they were gearing up for 95 because here comes hell's bells. No, he's throwing 89. He's throwing 89. His best pitch is a slider. It's like Deebo has got a big name, but Deebo's doesn't have a big game right now. And if he does, let's see it.
And change-up guy, Larry. Change-up guy.
Change-up, yeah. And then Kittle. Kittle is a tough guy, but his game, he's 30, so he's not getting better or more dynamic. Right. He's getting slower and less dynamic.
Reason why he and his wife are selling glasses now. He's already starting to look at the end of his career.
Yeah. Juszczyk selling jackets, Kittle's selling glasses. How about some of these guys score touchdowns? They're just not that dynamic. And this is what happens when you keep running it back from 2019 and it's 5 years later. You've got all of a sudden, you got all these guys who have a lot of memories and big names and big contracts, but their game is not what it used to be. And they're mostly name at this point. So, the Niners may trade Deebo. That's not the story. The story is that if they tried to trade him, they would only get a 5th round pick. That's the story. The Niners might try to trade Ayuk. Yeah, that's not the story. The story is that nobody really wanted him, and the best they got offered was like a couple of day 3 picks, or a day 2 and a day 3 pick. It's like that's the story. The Niners, when was the last time they drafted a star? A star running back, a star wide receiver, a star tight end. They've been right now, they're not that dynamic on offense. They're turning it over. But their real problems are they can't stop anybody on defense, and the special teams is not a whole lot better. So
the last time they drafted a star, his name was Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And look, this is the best hope you got going forward, because I do have to start wrapping this up. I got to use the bathroom before the 11 o'clock starts, and people are saying that I got to go smoke one up before the head cold has been very strong. I haven't twisted one up in a while. I really haven't. But
it's Larry, okay. It's okay.
Okay. I'm going to be okay.
It's 2024. People are apologizing for not getting high. Hey, man.
Going to be okay.
Look, I will start to smoke more grass. Give me, let me get healthy, right? Let me get my cold
Purdy.
Right.
Brock Purdy
okay.
is the best shot this team's got. If you've been salting away on Brock Purdy, know this right now. He's the best shot you got at this season actually working out the way you hope it can. Because I don't think this is going to be a defense-first football team. I don't know if you can say this is going to be a run-the-ball first football team. This is going to be a quarterback has to make big plays team. So as Larry said earlier in the show, this whole criticism of Brock Purdy playing hero ball is the problem. Without Brock Purdy putting on a Superman's cape right now, you will leap over no tall buildings in a single bound. He has to be special. He has to be good. And the question you've been saying is, I don't know. Can he be special? Can he be good? Well, we're about to find out. And I would return to a little play action to help him out if I'm Kyle. But outside of that, there's really not a lot of help that seems to be available other than Ricky Pearsall shows up and, oh, everybody, he's fucking awesome. And, oh, buddy, never mind Achilles. No. Christian McCaffrey's back, everybody, and everything's great now. And then Dre Greenlaw shows up and rides into town on a white horse with a white, sheriff's hat on, and everything's okay.
Why is the horse got to be white?
Because he's the good guy, Larry.
Why?
Just going with classic Western tropes. There was some racism back then.
Why do we got to go racial? I mean, why do we
ride into town on a silver steed?
Why does that have to be silver? Why couldn't it be gold?
Is it Mike Silver? What are you saying?
Why couldn't it be bronze? Hey, this is Brock Purdy. You want to get an example of Brock Purdy? Here's Brock Purdy. I asked him about the red zone yesterday. Listen to what he said. Does he blame JJ? Does he blame his line? Does he blame anybody?
Last year, you guys were the number one team in the league in red zone touchdown percentage. This year, it's been more of a struggle. What does the film show? How would you evaluate what you guys have done in the red zone?
Yeah, I think we've had some opportunities, and I think that's an area for me to be better for sure. Trust the plays, trust the concepts, trust my guys, and being willing to go down there and rip it. I mean, like I said, when I talked to you guys last time after the game, the windows get tighter and the timing of it is quicker and faster. So for me, it's about getting back into a rhythm down there and giving my guys a chance. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen on film.
I think that's a great answer because I really think that is the answer, Damon. He's a little bit out of rhythm in the red zone. And can I explain this real quick? I think what's going on here is twofold. The Niner receivers are not getting separation. The Niner line's a little faulty from time to time. That's causing Brock, who wants to throw it, not run it, to buy himself more time. Now he's moving around in the pocket. He's buying himself more time, and he's making a number of plays. But that also, occasionally you're going to run into a sack. Occasionally you're going to run into a turnover. So he's gotten bitten by that. But that mindset, Damon, of drop back to pass, get to the top of your drop. Nobody's open. Now I got to kind of be creative and start to move. I think that is what's happening. That's disrupting his rhythm in the red zone. In the red zone, he's totally right. He needs to rip it in the red zone. He needs to trust it. The play design has to be there, and he's got to let it go. You can't just, oh, you know what, Brock, move around. Because what's happening is it's not the play that they're calling. That's the play that they're running in the red zone when they pass. It's the improvisational that's happening after that play's not there. So Brock's dropping back to pass. He's not ripping it. He's holding it. He's moving. And then it becomes like, I'm going to move to my right and let's see if I can find somebody. And a lot of times he's throwing it away or just throwing it into the ground. I think Brock is correct to blame himself. Not that, he needs to be overly critical of himself, but I think he's right. I think he needs to trust it and rip it a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit quicker, and get his clock sped up in the red zone. You want to slow yourself down because your receivers are not separating, your line's not okay. That's one thing when you have more time, more field. But in the red zone, there's no time for that. He's got to get his clock right in the red zone. I think he hit on something there.
The most interesting aspect of last week's game and broadcast was Tom Brady talking in real time about Brock Purdy, what he sees, what he likes, what he needs to improve at. And the theme of the day for Purdy, from Brady's perspective, was basically, this guy's got all the mental capacity and physical ability to play the position. He just needs to get rid of the ball faster, especially in the red zone, which is exactly what you were just saying. He just needs one read, look at it, it's there, hit it. If not, throw it away, live to fight another day. Live to fight another down. And that was the biggest criticism from Tom Brady. He's just got to get rid of him faster. I mean, they even showed the clock in the corner of Brock running around for 11 seconds. And Kevin Burkhardt turns to Tom Brady and says, "What's the longest you ever held onto a ball?" And Brady, without missing a beat, goes 2.7 seconds.
Yeah.
And, definitely different athletes. I get it. And Brady never ran around at all. He was a sliding in a pocket, get rid of it fast quarterback. And it served him well. It served
One thing I'd love to see. One thing I'd love to see is I'd love to see the Niners copy one of the things I thought Brady did exceptionally well. I think Brock could be deadly if you empty the backfield, give the empty set, put 5 guys up there on the line of scrimmage, spread it out, and just let him process and be accurate faster than the defense can react to 5 eligibles. I'd love to see the Niners go in with that, and then add a hurry up component to that, and see if Brock can process and get it out faster and with more efficiency than the defense can defend it. And I think that he probably could be. I think it could be an incredible strength of his and something that could result in a lot of success. So we'll see. We'll see if they get to that. I would love to see it because Brady was so good at it, and Brady didn't have the mobility of Brock, and Brock does throw the short stuff with a lot of conviction and with a lot of zip. So I think it would be a good, the short spread. Everybody runs a 5-yard stop route, and it's almost like backyard football. I think Brock would be great at that. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Sam's Chatterhouse, by the way.
Thanks and much. Yeah, to Sam's. Thanks to everyone who offered up a super chat. Thanks to everyone who has liked this show being live streamed on both channels at the same time. If you get a little love over here, make sure you give a little love over there, and vice versa. Thank you so very much. Subscribe, memberships available, all that good stuff. And you and I are going to be back at it Friday in the wake of Thursday Night Football. I'm going to be going live at the 2-minute warning, Larry. I will definitely carve out time to hop on with your post-game spectacular as well. So we'll see you tomorrow night. And then again, hopefully we'll see everyone right back here for Wake Up on Friday morning. In the meantime, have a really good time driving the Miata around. And don't forget, this show has got football guys on it.
Tobin Ernst said, "Hey guys, Niners need to embrace the dink and dunk.
Get it out, dink and dunk, guys, no doubt."
By the way, I've added a new person to my post game show. My nephew Joe, who was with us, he's a Patriots fan. He had such a good time the other night that he won't be there this week, but he is going to be a regular staple of my 49er post game show. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have, first of all, I love the post-game window. I love talking post-game. It's a lot of fun. I love having my son there, and I love my nephew to death. So I'm going to love having him there as well. So I'm really excited about that. And, what's that?
Anyone on your family who's not on the show? Is this going to be the week that Daisy makes her debut?
Nobody else is in the family's on the show yet. Others have asked, but my nephew's a big Patriots fan, big football fan, and I didn't realize he had such a good time. And he's like, "Hey, Uncle Larry, I had a great time on the show." And then his dad sent me a note. "Yeah, he had a really good time." I'm like, "Hey, you know what? I love him. He can come anytime he wants." Jim Mole, my buddy from college, who's a newlywed, says, "Krug show nepotism." Yeah,
is that the Wednesday Mole right there?
Yeah,
Jimmy
Wednesday Mole.
Buy that not on a Wednesday, baby. It's half the price. It means Jim's smart. That's what that means.
Great show, gentlemen. Raphael 5629ers. Thank you, Raphael. And Raphael or Smiley. Is that Smiley Dan or no? That's a different Smiley.
No, it's Smiley 5.
Smiley
Smiley
5 says,
B.
shout out Krueger. And Raphael 562 says, like and subscribe, everyone. Yeah, please give it a like and subscribe. Hit the like so everybody everybody can find us in the algorithm, and hit subscribe for my channel, for Damon's channel, so that every time we go live, you'll get that little ding, they're going live, and you don't have to miss any of it. That is going to do it for us. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. The heat has broken, Damon. It's no longer in the 90s. It's actually in the 70s.
Stay safe, Florida. Anyone watching from Florida, stay safe. Get the hell out of the way.
And be a football guy.